Yes, yes, yo, you don't stop. Big John come rocking a short shot. Welcome back, baby. It's the fastest freaking show in MLB absolutely anywhere with your boy. It's your fucking boy, Big Johnny Stud, coming to you worldwide. Brooklyn, New York, as always. Coming out the damn chair as always. Follow me up on Twitter at John the Gazer Flow, sharper than a razor. Same handle over on Substack, where $2 a week makes all your dreams come true. Find out what all the fucking hubbub is about, yo. Don't be a cheap bitch your whole life. Support good people doing good work. $2 a week, get your 5 pounds of shit in a 2-pound box. We'll be showing off a lot of the tools today, then talking about some MLB futures. I wanted to look at the worst record market, right? Everyone's always the overs and the best. Fuck that, man. Let's get into the worst, right? It's the teams you love to hate. All right, when you sign up, of course, you get everything. Somebody found it in their heart to name me, yours truly, moi, the 2026 Fantasy Baseball Writer of the Year. Yay! So if you'd like to read some award-winning fucking work, whatever that means, that and $3 will get you on the fucking bus. Sign up to the Substack. There's got to be at least 20 articles, at least as many podcasts. We started at the very top covering hitters and pitchers in clumps one by one. Then we backed off to do rotation evaluations in groups of 5. Those 6 episodes each have a accompanying article, so you could just go back, to check a staff's fragility. Did roster resource or the fantasy industry at large maybe anoint somebody as the 5 when they might not be? What's the prospect situation, the 6-man situation? Check that shit out. We go through everything. You know how we do. Me and you, the Corked Stats crew. Nuance and context furniture. Freaking knows. When you roll with us, you can see up on the screen. For the video people, your ranked tiers. That's your 525 roto ranks. When you get good with the filter, you can just put any position you want. Make sure that you press select all. That's the trick when you learn how to use the tools. It speeds everything up, right? So there are your shortstops in tiers and where they fall in the overall with the overall rank on the side. That's really, really effective and kind of, gosh, I hate to draft without it. These tools can be so helpful to just switch on over, give you an idea. Again, positions where they sit overall or everything against the market. This goes all the way down. I call it the 525, but I'm constantly adding, so that's up over 600 now. Then if you're looking at the screen, you get color-coded Underdog and DraftKings. Those, you download the CSV, they go right up into La Máquina. It takes about 10 seconds, and you're off and running. I'm constantly filtering and adjusting, removing all the hurt players. Those guys are getting drafted in every freaking league. If you haven't played this stuff, you definitely should. Make sure you read the article on it, the differences and where we have found definitive, quantifiable, and objective edge in these markets. And then, all the hitter and pitcher stuff, plus the team stuff that you get. Then once the fucking season starts, the world famous pitching sheets, just everything you could ask for, the algorithm, custom earn run indicators, team totals, just every fucking thing. I'm literally working 24 hours a day on this stuff. Looking forward to get back into prediction markets, back into the betting streets after last year's kind of debacle. But again, I don't ever hide anything. We're fully transparent. People ask for picks. I was telling them I'm not straight betting. My money was in a money market collecting risk-free cash. This year I'm going to continue doing that, but I'm going to shave a little piece off the top of the guaranteed cash to roll in the baseball market. Looking for big lotto parlays. We'll have some fun with that shit. But I'm also going to be working the prediction markets. If any of you have a trading background and have followed our work, you would understand immediately why I'm so excited about the potential of making 3, 4, 5% every day in CLV. It seems like what we've done, why I've been able to keep the lights on in this very tough industry for so long with a forward-facing algorithm without people, dragging me, right, as being a fucking scam. Because we're not, because we're the fucking real deal Holyfield. But now in prediction markets, we're going to be looking to get these percentage points without even betting on the games. If you are young and you have a high risk tolerance, when we're getting CLV, you can choose to roll with those. The best part about prediction markets is if we bet on something and the market's moved against us, you can just clear it. Just clear it out. Take a few, that same percentage point that we're looking to gain, you take that as a loss, but you don't have to eat the entire thing. Again, really exciting times coming up for all of us. I want to take a look at the fewest regular season win markets. So that's up on the board. Starts with Colorado, minus 400. No way am I paying that. Over to the White Sox. You know what? Let's start with a little macro off the gut, and then we'll see if this kind of matches up with some analysis. I don't want to take too long today. Again, no one is watching these videos. StreamYard destination connection is fucking not working. I don't know. I don't stir up enough shit, I guess. I don't know. My entire social media cloud has fucking gone in that fucking toileta. So I guess like and retweet, please, pretty please, with fucking sugar on top. I hate begging for interaction, right? We've built this brand together, you and I. Baseball's version of 300. Give the book nothing, take from that bitch everything, right? Organically. You should understand where we sit in the pantheon of baseball coverage after about 45 fucking seconds. If this ain't for you, it ain't for you. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of stupid analysis. I can think of one, Her Majesty's Royal Newsletter, if you're looking for stupid stuff. So back to the board. Task at hand. Rockies minus 400. Yes, they stink. The pitching is atrocious. I think the hitting is better than people think. I guess the bullpen also is kind of ass. But we've seen like Vodnik and Halverson be okay. I think the price is F in the A. I wouldn't pay minus 400 for that. Next up is the White Sox. This is like a clear no. You know, absolutely not. In fact, gosh, this is making me want to look at the actual wins. I'm not a big win better, because I don't like to leave money hanging for 6 months. That said, I have to look at the total for the White Sox. They're at 68. I got to be way over that. I think the White Sox are not nearly as bad as people think, particularly on the offensive side. Pitching probably needs a little bit of help. I do like Shane Smith, opposed to the Rockies, who have absolutely fucking nothing. We do like Shane Smith. Maybe you get a little something out of Burke, right? Sean Burke. People loved him last year, but, you know, development can kind of take time. Davis Martin, Anthony Kay, Eric Fetty-Wap, looking to bring up the rear in the rotation. Not really good. But again, the bullpen, you know, they brought in Dominguez. I kind of like Leisure and Taylor. I just don't think the White Sox are nearly as bad as people think. Over to the Nats, who shipped away Mackenzie Gore. Again, offense, not terrible. Pitching, pretty bad. Maybe a few more bright spots and guys on the outside looking in that could maybe just keep them from being that atrocious. Angels, same. Probably a bit more arm talent in the rotation than some of the other dregs. But overall, pretty bad. They're relying on a couple of retreads in the bullpen, or this could get awful really quick. That's Robert Stevenson, Drew Pomeranz, Kirby Yates, Jordan Romano. Each of those guys are at least 33 years old. They've all kind of slammed the door at some point, but obvious floor baked into the bullpen. Over to the Cardinals, who kind of right off the bat feel like they should be worse than the teams we've already mentioned. Because I think the bullpen is bad, right? They moved on from Helsley. The offense is bad. They moved on from Donovan. They were already bad. And the rotation is horrendous. I mean, I only know this because they earned a snark tweet from me the other day. Again, I've been trying to boost my reach on social media, and that seems to be the way to do it, just try and piss people off. Though none of it was fake. Check this one out as I scroll for it. It was just crazy how bad the damn rotation is for St. Louis. We're going to dive in a second. Crazy stuff going on with the Cardinals' rotation is constituted between Liberatore, Palante, McGreevy, and May. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Before we do that, this is a pretty good time to maybe show off some more of the tools here. So again, remember, if you know how to use Sheets, search innings pitched high to low, then sort teams A to Z. And what that will do is sort every team A to Z in order of innings pitched, right? It'll kind of remember the last thing you sorted. So now I have St. Louis up on the board. Remember, everything formatted neat and in a way that it's not just stat. It's so we don't just read them. We're comprehending them and able to build off it. To build off that, when everything is neat and organized and everyone is together, it helps you do a lot of work at the same time. Keep a stream of consciousness as you work. And again, beyond the, stupid newsletters and low IQ pretend plus EV bettors out there quoting K and walk. What's a K rate without the swinging strike, without the ball rate, right? What's walk rate without ball rate? Who gives a crap about walk rate? Ball rate is the true command stat. Again, who cares about K rate if we don't understand how often you throw strikes and do you induce chases? Again, there's so much low IQ shit out there that part of the reason I launched this, right, getting into my older years, right, where my risk tolerance is lower, where I can actually help people, right? Providing information is part of it. Helping to understand the information is the second part, where 1 + 1 = 3. So back to the tweet, which now you can see up on the sheet here. Between Liberatore, Palante, McGreevy, and May, not a single whip under 130, not a single Sierra under 440, not a single KBB in the double digits, not a single chase rate north of 32, not a single swinging strike rate in the double digits, not a single CSW over 27, not a single batting average allowed under 255 or zone contact below 90 or hard hit rate below 40. How is it even possible? I don't know. This team could suck, absolutely suck. Then they brought in Leahy. I didn't want to quote the couple innings as a starter we got from him. There's a possibility these Cardinals are just straight up atrocious. Again, if I'm going to talk about how to use the tools to build the stream of consciousness, right? You shoot over to the offense. I have everything sorted by plate appearance. And then team, right? So kind of the same idea. Offense not doing you any favors in the win department here. Oh, and all these guys played. Walker, Gorman, Herrera, Scott, Wynn, Burleson, Newbar all had at least 400 PAs. Only 3 of them hit above 250. All but those 3 hit below 230, 215 even. Just atrocious. Not a single batter with over 20 home runs. What the hell? Where is my sound effect? Where is my sound effect? Boo! Boo! Cardinals not getting nearly enough credit for having a floor here. Again, remember, not just stats. Average next to batting average. Have all your totals together. Slug, xWOBA, WRC+. Those are your macro views on a hitter. Then we want to get into disciplinary stuff. It matters. You know what I mean? It matters. Now, the disciplinary stuff as a whole is not terrible. You could see a lot of single-digit swinging strike rates. As a team, they don't really chase. Lots of zone contact. Then into elevation, right? Because it should intuitively be overall macros, plate discipline, elevation, into contact quality, right? We want to think of things from hitter control, right? Greatest in the hitter control, whittling its way down. And again, these are going to play themselves out in the season-long stuff. I haven't really busted that stuff out yet, but if you want to get an idea, get a look at what the team tools look like, right? So this is what the tools look like in season. You'll get this every day. Offense, year to date, 7-14 last 30, and split left and righty. If you don't think it's worth $2 a fucking week, you go sort and format this shit every fucking day. If you're even at 1/3 serious about any daily baseball stuff, it's just worth it. And if you sign up for the year, you get the last month, so $88 gets you the whole year if you're $100 better and you're not using this fucking stupid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? So again, you can see team stuff. This is St. Louis as a team, just the bottom of the board, everything formatted, 90th and 10th percentile. Bottom 3 in homers, bottom 3 in ISO. They didn't take walks last year for as much contact as you get. It was all bad. One of the worst pull teams in the league. One of the worst barrel teams in the league. WOBA, WRC+, you name it. They were pretty much despicable. So Cardinals definitely have a floor here that, I don't think is being circled for the price. So for my money, then the bullpen is Riley O'Brien, JoJo O'Mara, Matt Swanson, Ryan Stanek. I mean, this is not anything that we're writing home about. Now, granted, O'Brien and Romero were effective last year, seemed to be said for Swanson. So if you do end up with 2 impactful righties and an impactful lefty, you could be good. That's how you get there. However, right, but, like a big freaking shaking ass, you know what I'm saying? Hold up, wait a minute. You got to get him there. I didn't even mention the injury risk either. How many innings are you getting from May? I think last year might have been a career high, and there's nothing behind it. It's pretty much a disaster for the Cardinals. So for me, right off the bat, that's where my first spin is going. Let's see if anyone else kind of deserves that deeper dive, and then if not, we'll work our way back and see if anyone really stands out. It's going to be very hard to be the worst team in the league. I can tell you there's one more I'm looking at right now. Twins, I don't think so. I think even with the injuries they've had, the pitching on the back end is way too good. We've yet to see Zebby Matthews get full run. We've yet to see Mick Abel get full run. They both look good this spring, Abel in particular. Woods Richardson, a guy that I like. I think with full run, he could be okay. Offense is also not terrible for Minnesota. So again, if we're going to talk shit about the tools, right, you pop over to Minnesota. Everything is already waiting for us. Man, the Buxton Health thing is something, right? Brought in Josh Bell. Try and sturdy things up. Can Lewis stay healthy and Buxton stay healthy? I got 2 of the biggest injury risks in the league. But I do like some of the backup stuff, right? Keysko kind of came up, and he's a baller. I think Cody Clemens also is a baller. Matt Wallner, flawed disciplinarily. But he's a masher. Same for Jeffers when he's out there. You get some stick. They also brought in Eric Wagaman from the Marlins, who's got a little bit of bad on him. So I think the Twins are really misplaced here. So then, right, the next thing we want to do is they're at 73 wins. Man, I don't know. The thing that I struggle with going over on bad teams, right? So this is another reason why I mentioned the pricing, going over on regular win-loss totals, aside from not wanting to hang up money on the price for the time, is bad teams will tend to sell off. So while I don't think the Twins are at all going to be the worst team in the league, I don't think they belong in the conversation. I legit don't. They still may sell everything that's not bolted down at the fucking halfway point. We just don't know. I got stung on that on the Marlins a couple of years back. They were tracking to beat their over-under, and at the halfway point just sold off right the entire bullpen. And then even if you end up with leads through 5 or 6, you end up blowing everything, and it ended poorly for me. They fell a couple wins short. So I wouldn't bother with that. Twins, I mean. Marlins, the pitching is entirely too good. Between Sandy and Yuri, I don't think you could have multiple frontline starters and be in the conversation. I like Braxton Garrett. Also, I think Max Meyer is a decent play. Plus, they have Robbie Snelling on the come up and Thomas White, who, though is injured, could give some innings later on. Marlins don't belong in the conversation. Pittsburgh Pirates absolutely do not belong in the worst conversation. Multiple, ace-type guys. Probably an average offense, if that. Athletics, the pitching is dog shite, but the offense is too good. Rays, I think, are too good altogether. Guardians, same thing. Guardians, so flawed always. But pitching and bullpen will get you there, and I think that's what I wanted to highlight about this in this episode. I want to just kind of skip over the team that I'm looking at and see if anyone else registers. I think the answer is no. All the other teams are just too good, too talented, too deep, too well coached to be a part of it. My long shot, right? So we did this also on the home runs. It was like Sal Perez. I totally validated a shot for it. That market is really tough when you're dealing with Judge and Ohtani, but I hate to put the negativity out there. Anybody could get hurt anytime. And if you just get hurt for a month, that could be enough to after you in A for the leaderboard. Also, why a guy is at 150 to 1. I mean, that's a fantastic fucking payout for a reason. So it's got to be the Diamondbacks. Starting with the pitching, it's gross. I've got them up on the board. Brandon Pfaadt, who's penciled in for the rotation, is being slow played, may start the season on the IL, I think. They look like they're going Gallen, Nelson, Rodriguez, Pfaadt, Soroka. I mean, a lot of vulnerability, plus injuries, plus lack of efficacy. Gallen was just about as bad as we've seen him. He cleaned it up in the second half. But again, single-digit swinging strike, 92 zone contact, 31 home runs from Gallen. This is your ace? Is this your fucking king? Brandon Pfaadt had a 5.25 ERA, 5.5 expected ERA. The four-seamer is shit, doesn't induce swings and misses. Let's do that also. Again, when we are trying to use the sheet, sorry, I thought I had the sheet up. So if you focus your attention back on the video screen, Gallen, Pfaadt, Rodriguez, Nelson, Soroka, have them highlighted. What can we assess? And this is why I think the sheets are so helpful. The command and the control is really good. The Diamondbacks certainly have a type. There was not a single walk rate that started with a 9, but there wasn't a single swinging strike rate in the double digits. Okay, how is that even possible? How could you have 5 MLB starters that don't have a swing strike rate in the double digits? Only Soroka had a KBB over 14.5. No one gets called stuff over. That's why the CSWs are all 27 or below. All the zone contacts are at 87 or above. You cannot be like that across the board, right? You're going to run into teams when you play series or multiple series that eat this kind of stuff, and this is why they're getting smoked sometimes. There is just a complete lack of swing and miss. They're way too comfortable pitching to contact. They're way too comfortable pitching up in the zone, right? You could see the elevation. Fly ball pitchers that get hit hard. What? Let's see. Drum roll. What could that result in? Well, I can hear when that drum roll ended. Ta-da! Home runs and lots of them. This team stinks, right? This rotation stinks. They're kind of preying on a lot of bounce back, right? Gallen has to come back to where he was. Pfaadt has to get healthy and progress. Erod has to stay healthy and find his own form. He failed the test when we dove into him. Nelson is the bright spot. He's the one guy I like. I don't think he's an ace. I do think he's a legit SP2, SP3. But now, what if they lose him? Oh, goodness gracious. just atrocious. Bullpen kind of hanging by a thread. I do like Ginkle. They brought in Seawold, but it's been a while since he's been good. Ginkle even had a 7.36 ERA last year. Again, this just could get really ugly really fast. Let's take a look at the bats, right? So you jump over to the bats page, you scroll up to Arizona, and there you have it, right there. Everything right in the tip of your fingertips. Again, ready to be assessed on the whole. The offense is not terrible. Okay, I want to frame everything properly, right? I think that's only fair. They brought in Carlos Santana, and Nolan Arenado, getting rid of Naylor and Eugenio Suarez. What a huge step down, just a tremendous step down. Perdomo had a fantastic season, but again, we really weren't buying it. Why? Now, again, the average was there and validated. You could see 285 XBA, which we love. However, right, but, the big shaking but. 20 home runs on a 462 slug. It was only 432 X, 173 ISO. 39 fly ball, but a 14% infield fly, which is atrocious. 28 hard hit on Fangraphs, 32 on Savant, 6% barrel. He converted 33 barrels into 20 home runs. So the 61% conversion rate is a bit high. The 350 X Wobicon is a bit high for a guy if you're looking for 20 homers. Now, I still think he's a good ball player, right? The contact stuff is great. The chase rate is great. Again, good ball player. Corbin Carroll, also great ball player. I'm worried about the hamate and how that affects the power. Ketel Marte, who I love, I worry about the health. Right? This guy just doesn't really stay healthy. Last year felt like a healthy season, and he still didn't get to 600 PAs. He's only done that once since 2019. So it's hard to pencil in Marte for more than 130 games, let's say. And the offense really falls off. So they're very much top heavy. After that, it's kind of crappy. You're looking for lots of bounce backs, right? You need Arenado to kind of find that groove again. His average went in the tank because the power went in the tank. Arenado had a 666 OPS. When you factor that stuff at the age, generally the age curve is the dominating factor here. Again, Carlos Santana, the Black Magic Woman. We're going to need him to fucking do something from beyond the fucking grave here. Lourdes Gurriel is hurt. I think they're hoping for a midseason return from what I believe was an ACL. Pavin Smith, kind of part-time platoon bat. He's pretty good versus righty, so it's a strong side platoon. But he also has a lot of disciplinary issues, right? And that's something that you see again with this team. So they're kind of disciplined. You get good lift, and they have some pull up front. So that's like the explanation for the top-heavy aspect. But in the back end, there's just nothing, right? There are no barrels in the back of this lineup. No one's hitting the ball hard. Ex-Wobicons all in the trash. That's another one where, like, you go get it and find it and sort it and format it. It's fucking annoying. It's annoying. It takes time. Like, let me do the dirty work so you don't have to. But anyway, Arizona is a, Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte injury away. For me, putting them next to the fucking Rockies, that's how what I think of the Diamondbacks. But again, the excitement for me is more about the pricing. Right, they're 150 to 1. They should not be 150 to 1. The Diamondbacks should probably, right now, I guess if we're assuming Carroll is healthy and Marte is healthy, I still think they should be in the 28 to 30 range. So for me, there's massive value there. And this would be another team where if you could get these markets, I don't think they provide them on prediction markets, where that feels like a CLV cash cow for me. So I think that'll do it. Let's get out of here. We're at a half an hour. And again, no one watches this shit because I can't find a good way to promote it. So press like, press retweet, quote tweet, and tell people this is a good fucking show. I don't know how to do that part. Like, I know how to do like the good work part. I know how to do like the explaining part. I don't know how to do the promoting, taking advantage of algorithms part. I'm not good at that. For me, life has always been about growth through being genuine. The people that stick will stick for good. The people that, don't care, I don't care if they don't care. But I feel very stunted because even the natural growth has kind of disappeared. So, Biggest Loser board, I do think there's some value. I would avoid the Rockies. It's a bit too pricey for me. Man, maybe the Nats and the Angels deserve a look also. Remember, is a good little lesson here. When you're playing these long shot markets, you should be betting small, but you also can be betting balanced, meaning, you could balance a ticket of, again, I don't think it's White Sox. I think they're too good. I think the Nats might even have a few too many stars. Let me take a quick look at the back row before we go. This happens to me all the time. My encore. The lineup I like. Wood, Abrams, stars. I like Garcia, Cruz, potential star. I like Lyle, potential star. Nunez, this guy, he's having a strong spring and stealing bases like a fucking madman. But Michaelis, Cavalli, star. Brad Lord, Josiah Gray, Foster Griffin. Oh my gosh. Washington could be atrocious also. Atrocious, but I think the offense is an order of magnitude better than St. Louis going at 28. So, I couldn't take the Nats at 750 because I hate the Cardinals so much at plus 28. Now, the Angels also. Let's take a look at the Angels really quick. I'm a Zach Neto stan, and I have a weird love affair with Mike Trout, but I understand the risks. I also like Adele. I think Shane Wells is a good hitter. They brought in Josh Lowe, though I think he's banged up again. I like Ohapi, and I think Christian Moore could be something. So the offense is not good. Right, let's bring that up on the screen. But I feel like maybe there's potential with the Angels, meaning, so I already think Neto is a star, and all Trout needs is the plate appearances. Again, I know they don't come easy, but I got the 556. So if you told me Trout kind of went nuts, I would buy that. Adele was good for 37 bombs. Nato went 26 and 26. So you don't have to squint too much. Let me scroll down just a touch. You could see XBAs are strong. Adele, Shanwell, Neto, all over 260. The slugs are strong up top. Bottom is going to be rough. Those guys haven't really shown to stay healthy. Soler could bounce back. Again, if Lowe gets healthy, he could be okay, but I'm not trying to argue this team's any good. The rotation has a bit more potential than maybe some of the other regs. Kikuchi, I don't think is good, but he could have another good season left in him. Soriano, people like, and Detmers, Grayson Rodriguez, and Manoah. Again, you're asking for a lot between health and talent on top of a bad bullpen. The Angels need to be considered in this race also. So if I were to make my ticket, right, we're basically fading the Rockies with the Angels, the Cardinals, and the Diamondbacks. And given the heavy odds, you could really make a nice balanced ticket. Like, let's say you have $20, you have $100, balance the three bets so they all pay off in a way the whole thing is profitable, right? That's got to be number one. I think that's the first mistake that people may, message when building long shot tickets, whether it be overalls for golf or the daily leader for MLB or whatever. building a ticket where you could hit one and it's a loser, which is kind of stupid. Make sure that the Diamondbacks is the smallest bet. Cardinals and Angels a little bit closer. But that love on the Diamondbacks at 150, they're worse than that. I wonder if I'm overlooking the A's because I like the offense, but I think that's it. I think you're going to need the runs, and I also kind of like the bullpen. And the weird ballpark makes it so wonky, which is kind of my argument for the Rockies. When they're in Coors, it's anybody's game. Everyone knows not to back aces in Coors. Why? Because of the ballpark. So it makes everything so weird. So yeah, I'm on Angels, Cardinals, and Diamondbacks to totally suck it up. So that'll do it. Thanks for checking out the show. Again, please like and retweet and comment. That's like the stuff that matters. Commenting and quote. I need to beg for interactions. I was always fine with people just absorbing my content. I'd catch a DM. Yo, this is the shit. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And moving on. But now I have to beg for interaction. So pretty please like me. Somebody fucking like me. Whatever. And I think that'll do it. Show is going to be coming in season 6 days a week. Nobody picked us up, so we're going sponsorless again, but que sera, sera. It will be paywalled for the subs because, right, look what the Joker say, right? When you're really good at something, don't give it away for free. So if people are going to acknowledge the value in the work and pay for it, they're going to be rewarded as such, along with, all the data and just everything. We do base projections. Check out the pinned post on Substack. There are samples of everything. I never want to surprise people. I always want you to know exactly what you're getting. But, you can always quit and prorate a refund or whatever. Just check it out and see. And you get access to me. I'm taking keeper questions right now. Sorry if I'm ignoring you if you don't pay. Again, I have to provide value to the people that are finding value in me. So enjoy the games, enjoy the day. When you're done with the book, enjoy the pay. And remember, when you work this freaking hard, man, winning feels a lot less like